I went to JAMB portal to print these results, and this is what they gave me. This is the result here. So this is my aggregate 362. This is exactly how I printed it. I downloaded it from that site. So they now saying that I forged my results is what I don't know, and I'm traumatized that they accused me of forging my own results because I am not capable of this forging results. This is the evidence. Okay, they say that I forged my results. They scanned this QR code there, and it showed another name, a Yoruba name, Omotola Afolabi, 138. And that same person that got 138, they checked again, the person got 338. Meaning that there is problem. There is problem somewhere. So, and we went to Commissioner of Education office on Friday last week. My principal and the educational secretary of Anglican Girls Secondary School, or Anglican Diocese. So we went there. We showed all these results to Commission of Education, both this one and the SMS they sent to me. And she snapped it and sent to the JAMB official. They called back saying that this is a forged result, that I forged it myself, that the JAMB office don't have the record of this. So they now say that I forged it, and they called the DSS over to come to her office. The DSS, they took us to their office and we made our statements there, and they said they will contact us later, that they are going to investigate these results to know where the source came from. So that's what they said, and instead of them to wait for the investigation to be over, they posted that I forged my results without confirming.
That was Mmesoma AJK, the JAMB candidate that has been embroiled in alleged forgery of results in the last few days. And we are glad you can hear us this time around. Apologies for the initial technical difficulty that hampered the audio of this production. So we are back, like we didn't even start at all, but then we are good to go this time around and we are ready to roll again. My name is Abiodun Adewale, welcoming you to another edition of the Roundtable from the Punch Digital Studio. We have the regular guys in the studio, and Femi Morgan to my right joins us again.
Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Shegun Odunayo is also here.
Really, thank you very much for having me. It's another bumper package, and we are ready to roll.
Of course, perhaps this would not have been the biggest news in the country right now if we have had the usual changes in policies, changes in personnel, and all that we've been used to in the last 1 month or thereabouts. But then, it's academic, it's big, and it's the season of results. So why not? It's the biggest and the trending news in Nigeria at the moment. A candidate, a student from Anambra State, Mmesoma AJK, I was embroiled in what the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, calls an alleged forgery of results. But eventually, they've been able to send the results and falsify the other one that was being acclaimed. But eventually, it leaves a lot to be said about the system itself, and of course, what we do usually in order to embrace or to get to climb
of admission. We have so many students who want to gain admission, who are desperate about admissions, and we always complain and say university autonomy, yet the universities don't have autonomy to admit their own students.
Yeah.
You know, when can we have the universities receive applications from students, and then the students go to the universities, do exams under the universities, and get admitted from the university, such that JAMB is just a federal register?
Yeah.
You know, that is the future of what I see. Not that JAMB is this omnibus examination body where, you know, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a major problem.
Before we go deep into
You
the
know?
techie side of it, let's look at the issue on the surface.
Yes.
249, 362. Accepting the fate and not wanting to get it. And
Yeah. Young people need to learn that they are going to fail a lot in life before they make.
And this one did not even
landmark.
and in this context,
You know,
249 is
she
not
didn't-
even
the
a
young lady
failure.
You have to
fail.
fail a lot in life before you really make landmark successes. So if you are young and you are having a hard time understanding that you cannot be number one all the time.
All the time, sure.
Because this is 249, 362. It's not a bad result. You cannot be number one all the time. And once you realize that there's a flaw, you have to step back. And your parents also need to, because we need to put some death knell on the parents. They did not manage this issue well.
For her to have even gone on her own to upload a video on social media and all of that
It was not well managed.
A 16-year-old was practically talking to the world.
herself, when she has guidance.
Because
I
she
thought it
has
should
to
be her
now
parents
grapple
speaking.
with the scandal. If, for example, there's a fellow Nigerian who wants to give her scholarship all over the world out of sentiment, the universities abroad are on the internet.
Sure.
They will check her name.
And the internet
And
never
when they see the
forgets.
scandal, they would write a corresponding letter saying, we are sorry, based on integrity, based on
this,
based on integrity, based on the cultural values of our university,
we
we will
might
be able
not
to
be.
give you admission. It's a dent on her name because her parents did not manage the situation well. You know.
All right. So from there, Shegun,
Yeah.
I know you are not techie, but let's just look at it with some from some techie perspectives on the surface too.
Yeah.
It amuses me that JAMB and the Anambra Ministry of Education, the moment they brought another candidate with the highest score forward, they just kept mum and left her to go back and forth with trying to prove that she got this before they replied her in private and she admitted to. In all of this, it also surfaced that there is a particular app that generates JAMB results.
Yeah.
And when it generates it for you, if you scan, it is likely that it even brings another candidate's name.
Yeah.
So these old issues, how much do you think JAMB needs to do in regularizing and authenticating their own source of generating results?
So talking about the other app, I was just telling a member of the crew off camera before we came on the show that I saw someone yesterday with my eyes practically print something that looked just to prove that truly it could be done.
It could be done.
And the person did it. In fact, same name, school, the way the JAMB result thing is like, score, just if you have written JAMB before, you know the way the JAMB thing is like. And he had this thing that you could scan.
The barcode.
What's it called? The barcode. And the person scanned the barcode. That barcode brought out a name and a score. The same score on that paper I was seeing before my eyes. Before the guy wanted to prove to us that it was forgeable, and if you really do not take enough time to look at what the truth is or otherwise, you will actually just think that was the truth of the matter. And the person did it. Now, going back to the Joy Mmesoma issue, it's very sad. In fact, when some of us were writing JAMB, let me not say in those days, because I mean, what days were it really? I mean, but a few years ago, those years,
it was pencil and paper.
249 was even not a bad score. 249. Oh, okay, congratulations.
Did you say not a bad score? It was one of the best scores.
It was a good score. So, I mean, when you had 249 and then you are trying to forge for 362, why? Definitely, I mean, let me not be too sure, but I do not think it was the idea of a 16-year-old, a 16-year-old's mind will not be thinking, should not be thinking in that direction. Certain persons wanted to take advantage of the situation and then saw the girl as the proper boss to their destination. Because why should anybody, try to fake a result for JAMB? Now the question is, do we know how many persons had done fake stuff? Perhaps Mmesoma Joy was discovered because she was trying to be number one. What if somebody said, I don't want to be number one. I'm okay with number 50.
I just want to get this.
Just make me number 120. And then
as far as I get admission.
Let me just get. And then if we look at history, we know very well what used to happen in schools. The fake admissions, the number of people that even used to get expelled in 3A level. Some will get expelled in 4A level, and you'll be hearing it was fake JAMB. In my university, I know certain persons that experience such, and you'll be wondering, fake JAMB, how? How did you now get? I mean, how did you go all the way?
And some people get up to NYSC.
NYSC before they discover at the camp that it was a fake result that they used. I mean, some people go as far as forging certificates and going for JAMB. So the forgery industry is a big one. This is the forgery industry of JAMB. Who knows the forgery industry of WAEC? Who knows the forgery industry of GC? Who knows the forgery industry of various institutions in Nigeria? Who knows how many people got jobs?
We know that of NYSC.
Of NYSC.
There has been scandals over time.
Who know how many persons got jobs with certificate and everything is looking so real, and they just put you in and you worked for years, and can you imagine? Look at the doctor one time like that they said was sent out of the office because, was chased out of work. They were sacked the person because discovered that his result of over 10 or 15 years ago was fake. Now, the question now that somebody raised on the internet was, we know Joy Mmesoma, her name is on everyone's lips. She's making the headlines. The girl who came first, the original number one, who should be getting all the accolades, who should be getting all the monies, all the scholarships, she should be the boss. He's not getting the boss. A particular fellow who went to not just fake her results, but who also ensured she dragged JAMB in the mud and gave us 2 or 3 or 4 days of drama. For 4 days, she was the number one thing. She was more popular than the president at that time. At doing those 2, 3, 4 days, she was so popular. We were all looking for the next drama. It's sad. It's really sad. Really very sad.
Before we leave this matter, Morgan, from the point of view of a journalist, at some point, if you are not the one behind this kind of story, merely reading, do you get skeptical about where is this going to lead? What is this likely going to cause? Because to have put a 16-year-old on the headlines because of that particular reason, what if it turns out to be the wrong reason and all of that?
JAMB had to protect itself. People say that JAMB would have managed it well. She's just 16 and all of that.
And I'm surprised he just kept quiet after releasing that statement.
JAMB is an institution. You call out an institution. You disgrace an institution. You question the integrity of that institution and the workability of that institution. And you expect that institution
will just sit back,
accept, because sometimes silence is acceptance of guilt.
Of course.
And so JAMB cannot keep quiet. Given the fact that you are challenging the certified winner, highest scorer at JAMB, it's dicey. So JAMB had to take a step.
Yeah.
So people who are saying she's going to be psychologically affected for so many years, I put that blame on the parents. If the parent had known,
guarded her,
had known that there are better ways to communicate with institutions, even if there were loopholes and all of that.
They could have written to JAMB.
I heard that the father approached the Ministry of the Anambra Ministry of Education on the total score. It should have been best to go through the Ministry of Education, and it would have been easily dealt with.
Not exposing the girl.
But now her name,
the girl out,
and she was making
back
video.
Her up with all sort of ethnic sentiments and all of that. And she's going to bear the brunt for life. She's going to bear this brunt for life.
All right, let's just
anyway, the House of Reps, the House of Reps are saying they are going to,
for JAMB to investigate.
Yes, they're asking for proper investigation, because at this time it looks like it's your word against my word. The spokesperson of JAMB was everywhere trying to make, they are a case for what happened and explain their own side of the story. the Mmesoma girl was even not backing down at a point before she eventually backed down, because it was more like JAMB is giving it, she was giving us.
Yes.
But as of yesterday, she admitted that her result was fake.
249.
The 632 was fake and the result was 249. Some persons were now saying perhaps she had been bullied, that we don't know what happened behind the scene and all that.
She wrote her exam in Ambassador Chidoka's
Yes,
foundation.
yes,
Yeah.
Chidoka,
And
yeah.
Ambassador Chidoka said that such things were an aberration
In the center.
and those things were out of the realm of normalcy.
Well, I think at this point it's best to just leave it hanging, and let's look forward to what the investigations will bring, going by what the House of Reps has ordered for JAMB to do a proper investigation and give us what actually transpired, what actually happened, and why all these things played out in the last few days. Away from that now, let's talk about governance in Nigeria, which has been like the most interesting thing that every Nigeria is interested in. And at this point, speaking to, while I was in a conversation with Shegun some days ago, I said it seems Nigerians are now getting used to the current realities and the way we are living. But from May 29 to June 29, we've had so much. And just let's take a look at the scorecard. Not the scorecard per se. Let's just review
1 month,
some
1
of
month review.
the 1 month in office of President Bola Tinubu, from fuel subsidy to every other policies, going to the summit in France,
coming back, removal of security chiefs,
and of course announcement of another ones.
Up until just 1 hour ago, there was another set of announcements.
So let's look at all of these things. Let me just begin with you straight up. From the perspective of an average Nigerian, like I said, it seems like we are getting used to it, but are we really getting used to this?
I think I'll start from the latest, which was coming off the Communications and Strategy essay, Dele Alake, when he said 4 things, basically. The Finance Act Order of 2023 was to be deferred. The commencement of the date of the changes was to be deferred from May the 23rd to September 1st, 2023, from May to September. Also, the Customs Excise Tariff Amendment Order shifted the commencement of the date of tax changes from March 27th to August 2023. Also, the 5% excise tax on telecommunication services and excise duty on locally produced products of 5% has been suspended. And also, the introduction of the introduced green tax on single-use plastics and the import tax adjustment levy on certain vehicles, that has also been suspended. So one thing I think we can deduce so far is that I think we have a listening government in certain quarters, and they are probably trying to cut down on their own policies that is kind of bringing pain on the people. The only ones that the president has spoken about, almost everywhere he has gone, when he went to the Awujale's palace, he stated it at the Alake's palace too during last weekend, Ojudioba. He was talking about the removal of fuel subsidy and the exchange rates. Those two he has been paramount on, because according to him, he's trying to ensure that the drainage is reduced. And in his words, I am not Father Christmas. I cannot be feeding the countries that are beside us, and while billions of naira is going down the drain. Remember that just recently IPMAN came out to say that 400 billion had been saved as a result of the removal of fuel subsidy. However, it's not like it has been saved in essence, but what they are just saying was that we will not, that is the amount.
Just about counting the cost.
Yes, that would have been paid. And last night, rumor came about of AARA saying they reduced their own pump price to 400 naira, but they came out to say that was not true. But one thing about deregulation of the downstream sector and you allowing the markets to take care of itself is that when it goes up in international markets, it will go up. People will complain. Remember the rumor of the 700 naira as well? But which was also not true. But reports have it that the new product, they've gone to buy the new product. When they come back home, they will also sell at the price. I mean, the market price will take care of itself. So in the end, the beautiful thing is when the Russia-Ukraine war becomes a thing of the past, when these issues go away, and then oil becomes kind of fair. The market price becomes
global.
fair. The global price becomes fair. Most likely, Nigerians will benefit because when it comes in at a reduced price, it will be sell at a much reduced. So there's no pegging. And then the pegging is making things hard because many people's salaries, Biodun, I don't think your salary has increased. Many persons have not increased, do not have increase in salaries, but the cost of living has increased. So it is bound for people to complain. However, when things regulate, it is likely that things will drop. But the question is when will things regulate?
So that is just the question that I'm trying to. How long are we going to go about this? But it seems like
there's no face saving the president and his people. There's no face saving here. You have removed subsidy. Where is the palliative? Introduce strategic palliatives. Bring in, support the CNG project of former President Buhari. Use it as a palliative. Use that gas project to encourage people who own cars and are struggling with petrol to convert their cars to CNG. You know, there are things that can be done. Fast track these things. Don't tell us stories. We are tired of. Don't go to places.
Increase minimum wage.
Don't go to places and be telling people that enjoy suffering small. Enjoy suffering. Endure. Suffering. We have endured under Buhari. We have endured under Jonathan.
Let's enjoy now.
Let us enjoy. Let us at least have let's have respite. Let there be some level of respite for all the pains that we have endured in 24 years of democracy.
Oh well.
You know, so it gives me pain when you look at all the policies that the president has put forward. You have the car ownership policy, 1,000 naira per year. One day we'll wake up and we'll have to start paying extra taxes for every.
The president is taxing us dry.
That we make, and every other attempt to make our lives a little better, we will have to be taxed more. But we have to ask ourselves, if you want to give in countries where taxes are high, how do people, where is the results? Go to the UK where people complain that there are high taxes.
There are working systems.
Look at the healthcare system.
There's a working system.
Look at the healthcare system. But you want to tax me in Nigeria, you don't want to give me what they give them in the UK.
Like you tax me and I still go to the hospital.
False comparison. You can't say in the UK they pay higher taxes. And then, but I can also say in the UK you can see the roads.
They know what they pay for.
You know.
Look at the rail system.
During COVID, the palliatives, they did not go to fight for the palliatives in the UK.
No.
The UK, the palliatives came to their doorstep.
In the US, they house to house.
You know, so it's a question of, if you want to tax me,
give me results.
Do the results. Give me results. If you want to say I should pay more for my car, make my car durable enough by doing good roads.
Good roads.
Before
you ask me to come and do roadworthiness.
Yes, I will agree with Morgan. Look at the controversial video of the president when he came to Lagos and he was welcomed. Yeah. The convoy thing. Of course, they came out to explain that it wasn't only that of the president several persons and all that. But people were saying, let the president come out and say, my convoy is usually this. However, because we are all going through it, I'm cutting it down to this. Yes. I think that is moral. That is moral for it will give moral support to Nigerians.
And I think at some point too, we will get to the point where we have to talk about asset declaration and how much we are using to even fund to run the government itself. So, but for now, let's just
look at when we did a story. Sorry, by we I mean the Punch. When the Punch did a story on the
how much
was going to the national, even the National Assembly, the one for the National Assembly, and there was so much outcry. People were angry and all that. Look at also same with the retired
service chiefs.
I mean, these are the things people are talking about. If you are saying me with my family of 2 and my wife and all that, as a man with his household should take certain measures. How much more our leaders? Are you taking measures? Are you leading? Am I following or I'm following and you are not leading?
Thankfully, I think everything is silent now about the proposed increment in what public officials will earn. So at some point, the
president didn't sign. I mean, as of now, he had not signed. The 114%, not 14, not 114, heavy.
So it's quite heavy. So at some point we will aggregate all of this and count the cost of what we are using to even run the government itself before we now talk about what the masses have to go through or have to pay.
Let me quickly add. Some cars that are owned and driven by these governors are bulletproof.
Some?
And
Almost.
And those cars are bulletproof cars of 300 million. And they use fuel. But I have to struggle for fuel. I have to provide for fuel. You want to collect ownership tax from me. So many things are wrong in this country.
Well.
We have to balance it. We have to balance it.
Well, another month is counting, and of course, before we know it, we'll be talking about 100 days in office, a year in office, and all of that. But before we get as far as that, and before we go on to the show today, let's quickly talk about something very important too. Ministerial appointments are on the way, and of course, we've had series of appointments in the last couple of days, and of course there's still some kind of drama between the lawmakers as well as regards holding certain positions in the house. But let's take the ministers first. Morgan, we have talked about round pegs and round holes. Yes. How round can they be?
There are so many conversations about the kind of ministers that we want. Some say we want technocrats. Some say
we want politicians.
Some will say we want politicians.
Yes.
Some politicians argue that given the prowess of their campaigns and all of that, you have to give them some kind of compensation. And that technocrats only know the technical things. I think that the kind of minister that I would like to see is a minister who knows what works, but who also has managerial skills
of how it works,
and also understands the political undertones. Someone like a Fashola is a good example. During the Buhari era, he understands what works. He understood how it works. He also understands the political undertones. That was why he said, "Okay, we are doing Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. We are doing East-West Road. We are doing Kaduna to..." So every region cannot complain. You need that kind of minister, especially in the tier 1 kind of. And when I mean tier 1, I mean finance. I mean agriculture.
Petroleum.
I mean minister of petroleum. You know, we need.
Not the president being the minister of
education.
Petroleum.
You know, education is.
It's tier 1. It's tier 1.
And remember.
Depending because
it's tier 1.
In terms of.
It should be number 1.
I agree, but in terms
from
of
budget,
do you know the literacy rates?
Yes,
the literacy.
I agree with you. But in terms of the kind of money that comes into the hands of these ministries, education
is not. It does not even rank.
So tier 1 is by budget to you.
Tier 1 is by.
So
budget.
Is it by budget?
Tier 1 is by power.
I feel education is even very major.
Education is even supposed to be major. You know, agriculture is in tier 1, but education is not in tier 1.
And Morgan, imagine that agriculture is in tier 1, and we are still an oil-dependent nation, despite our green prowess in agriculture.
In fact, water resources is supposed to be tier 1. Agric and water resources.
Maybe everything should even be tier 1. Because if you look at, no, even sports. If we look at. I'm deviating a little, but look at Sporting Lagos coming up onto the Nigerian President. This was a club of how many months? Let me not say years.
Founded in 2022. Last year.
Unfortunately for us, we have a president who has to provide for us 36 ministers from 36 states. Well, that's the constitution. Except we amend it.
Of course.
You know,
we can't have less than 36.
The argument of minister of state does not have power, does not have mouth, does not have rights.
He's a junior minister.
He's a junior minister, and the minister of state would likely always clash with the permanent secretary. That argument is valid, and the president also needs to look at those things.
Bureaucracy.
I think we need Nigerians are tired. Nigerians are tired of give me 2 minutes.
Or maybe we don't even want ministers.
Just make it work. Nigerians did not vote for ministers. Nigerians, according to the last election result declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission, Nigerians, the most people that voted in that election, voted for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They want performance. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu goes home with his people and decides, I want A here, I want B here, what Nigerians want is let things work. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 5, Tier 10 minister. Perform. Nigerians are hungry. We don't have electricity. People, the literacy level is low. The money in the pockets of people is a little. The money in the banks, far worse. You know, these are the issues. An average Nigerian man just wants to fend for his family, give his wife money to cook soup, send his children to school, and everybody should live and be happy and merry. People just want progress and prosperity. Ministers, when you come in, whoever is appointed to what ministry, perform. You cannot spell it out. And in fact, it may even be a springboard for you to do anything in your political career. When people have seen what you can do, you don't need to sell yourself too much because it is out there in the open. So you get the opportunity, hit the ground running.
Shegun, in one word, politicians or technocrats? Or even both?
Technocians.
Well,
I want technocians.
All right. Let's leave that aside. Before we round over, let's quickly talk about the key holders of positions in the Senate and, of course, the both chambers that we have. There's been a lot of drama, particularly from the camp of the APC recently. But finally, we have names of those that will be holding positions. And, well, that doesn't concern an average Nigerian. But then, how much are these people going to make it count with the particular office they are holding in that chamber?
I would take the minority whip and all those people in the minority cadre, minority whip, minority
leader.
The minority leader.
I think that is an intelligent move. The APC is quietly and strategically
positioning
the NNPP into its fold. I don't know whether Mr. Kwakwanso is conscious of such moves, but I see that the APC is diplomatic in the house, and they've been able to bring in someone from the LP, someone from the NNPP to play leadership role
within the
house. It's intelligent and it's good. It's good for our politics. It's good for.
Is it good, or we did not make them puppets?
This power play.
It's good.
These are questions people have been asking. Look at how PDP have been busy ranting, saying that members of the PDP that made it as principal officers are people that are loyal to former Governor Nyesom Wike. Of course, people feel Governor Nyesom Wike is a PDAPC, or is he? Yes, APPD. You get my point. I mean, there's an alliance. But people, Nigerians, look at what happened yesterday on the floor of the Senate. Aliu Ndume, Chief Whip, telling them that his people had just 1% of the loan that was collected, and that the Southwest had the highest. Lagos had 47, 40 something. Southwest had 57. And these are the things. Even though they are members of the APC, we really do not care if you are a member of any political party. What we want is hold the government responsible.
So for me, I just feel that Mr. Aliu Ndume is a very experienced man.
Of course.
Unfortunately, he's not the majority leader this time around. But he's in a better position to argue and to talk about issues.
Yeah, when he talks, you must listen.
And he's also in a better position in terms of administration, which is unlike before, where we had a rebellious Aliu Ndume in the house. We now have an Aliu Ndume that has an office and can better position.
Even with his office yesterday, he was still charging at the Senate president.
Maybe it's just characteristic.
He was charging.
I feel that someone like an Aliu Ndume is someone that everybody will come to respect and appreciate in the house. But beyond that, I see that the APC is playing out some kind of game within the house to show that we can bring all of these parties together.
Controlling things.
We can make everybody okay. Unfortunately, the APC in the central, the APC national, is not pleased with it. But remember, I was here when I said that.
The APC in central, or the chairman of the party.
You were here when I was saying that the House and the Senate President needs to earn the respect of the House. And it depends on his relationship with everybody
the men.
in the House.
Yeah, and the men and women, rather.
So the Senate President also knows that we have to put certain people in certain places so that when we make decisions and when we talk, even in Ndume, when a time will come, Ndume would cooperate with the House.
But is that good enough for Nigeria? That's my question.
Well,
are they not supposed to be check and balance?
Checks and balances.
That's what we are.
But how much of this have we
and
done,
balancing.
even in the last political dispensations that we have? How much of checks and balances?
Well, the thing is, I think that was one thing why Nigerians said
I think it's also
we were collecting loans
politics.
and we were just, the government was at some point going off and nobody was saying anything. But we want statements to be made. You know why the legislature is there? You are the direct representative of the people. Direct. You have your offices everywhere. I can go to my senators.
You're accessible.
Yes, right. And tell you this is we in this area, or this is what we are feeling, and you go and say
Brother,
right there. That is what they are. But that is what we want.
We are lying to ourselves.
No, but that is what we want.
Let me tell you how checks and balances can work in this country.
Okay, how?
When a senator misbehaves, when a senator is not behaving, when a senator is not speaking the thoughts
that will recall him.
Recall him.
That's a long process.
By the time you recall two senators through the legal means.
Hopefully, if it doesn't.
But that's actually very tedious. Look at the
If it doesn't
politically motivated recallings that wanted to happen in Kogi. It never saw the light of the day.
Agreed. But if you follow the process and you recall two senators, every senator in that house will sit up. Until the people also realize that they need to play a part. They need to follow policies. They need to argue. They need to organize. The senators will sit in that house, collect salaries, collect stipends,
allowances,
and enjoy it for 8 years, retire there, and get pension.
And it looks like the house of retirement, even for ex-governors. But from the inception of this assembly, a lot of people said one thing, particularly the influence of the executive on who becomes what in the house. It was one of the problems that we've had in previous assemblies, where they were just like rubber stamp for whatever the executive was going to do. Yeah. So a lot of people are saying it's taking that coloration again. And of course, from the interest and the influence that we had from the executive, if we continue that way again, it might just be President Bola Tinubu taking this to the House, throw it at them, and they just return it without pleasure, and it goes on like that. Where is the checks? Where is the balance?
Maybe not. One would have to look at how things play out in the Senate. There's a sense in which I have faith in the Senate. I feel that a former governor that has been a minister before, cannot be a pushover. Someone who's been a governor before, been a minister before, been in the House before, has seen it, has done it, cannot easily be pushed over. And if you are not a pushover, it means that someone has to negotiate properly with you before they buy you in. So it now takes a different coloration. Can Tinubu negotiate with all of these eggheads in such a way that they now agree to be rubber stamps? Or they would kowtow to Tinubu. They can't kowtow to him. He has to negotiate his way. He has to find a way to negotiate with them. And so we have to ask ourselves, what kind of senators have we voted for? Are these senators the kinds of senators who know what is happening at home? Who know that there's insecurity at home?
Not Abuja senators.
Who know that farmers cannot go to farm until they pay royalties to terrorists? And who are ready to do something about it? So the question is, what kind of senators do we have in the House?
And it's even a pointer to the fact that, to the consciousness of the people, from what you mentioned, a lot of people voted during the presidential election, mainly, and their attention was mainly focused on who becomes the president. Their next, even when you're not talking about the Senate or even the House of Reps, when you're talking about the councillors that will be representing them at various wards.
Many people don't care.
Many people don't even care. So it speaks volume about the consciousness of
I think the senators, members of the House of Representatives, need to understand the point at which Nigerians are at the moment. Nigerians saw new things under Buhari, new things in a very negative way. New things that they probably have never ever seen before. Reality dawned. In fact, I doubt I know anybody who supported and even voted for that government that did not eventually say, how I wish it was that bad. And this one, people are asking for succor. People are asking for relief. People are asking for, they just want to lift their head out of water and say, I can breathe.
Finally.
Indeed, people want to truly breathe. People want to breathe. So they need to know that regardless of the internal wranglings, regardless of the fightings and whatever, let Nigerians just be alive. Nigerians want to pay school fees. Nigerians want, now people can hardly survive. Yes. Somebody was talking yesterday on social media about the food inflation level in Nigeria. The guy said he never knew it was that bad. He had gone to the market and had truly seen that what can 20K afford.
If I know that a former governor has said that, a former governor Bafarawa
has
said that if you are not careful in the next 2-3 months, we will not have food in this
country. And
you know, there's been a lot of talks about food security, and it has got to the point that even a former governor can admit that we might not have something.
It is the truth. It is the truth. If you speak with farmers, a farmer friend of mine was saying that the loans that used to be available for them, whereby you collect loans and then you go and do your planting and all that, and you pay a certain percentage. In fact, the federal government will not collect the entire money back. They will only collect a particular sum because they know you are helping the country too by providing food. I mean, that's your job, but take the loan, go and get food, push it out to the market, and it is sad.
Food security is a convoluted problem. Number one, when you plant, how do you store? Government used to have silos. Those silos are now empty warehouses where big rats live. That's the problem on its own. Transportation, when you plant,
how do you
transport? With the subsidy remover, tomato is 500 naira. You know, is that terrible?
The 500 naira tomato, you just pick it like this. It's not like you are.
Yeah, sure. You know, it's not like you are packing.
You are picking.
You know, so that's another one. You know, and then you now have insecurity. So you pay a bandit to go to the farm. You are not sure of whom. You are not sure that the crops will grow. But you pay bandits regularly to go to a farm. When you harvest, you face second problem.
They'll probably collect.
You know, to even think that we're in the rainy season, that flooding will affect.
Then flooding is coming.
That flooding is coming. It's going to affect. It has affected tomato already. It's going to affect rice.
And so when Governor Bafarawa is saying, Mr. President, please let us remind you that if we don't eat, we will all die, whether there will be plane flying or not. Is the right move. And people need to, leaders, retired leaders who are sitting need to wake up from the euphoria of
my party, your party.
My brother, my
this is Nigeria now.
We need to wake up now and say, now that our brother at my party or whatever has gotten there, start work. Party has ended.
Yeah.
Felicity has ended.
Sure.
No time for you.
It's time for governance.
Jubilation anymore.
It's time for governance. I think I like the point that these conversations have led us to. So, gentlemen, it's time for us to make our parting shots. Shegun, we've talked about education, politics, and governance.
Yeah.
So, I will ask again: technocrats, politicians, who?
Like I said, the technocians are people who understand what the duty is about. Also, people who are political juggernauts who can stand off certain problems that the administration may want to have in that regard. But we want, the funny thing is we don't have a dearth of intellectuals in this country. If there's anything we lack, it is not intellectuals that we lack.
Maybe some days
it is not.
Maybe some days we'll talk about brain drain too.
We technical know-how is on the high side. If you are looking for Nigerians within and you do not have people that will do it, just look out a little. In any sector, you will see one Kelechi Kennedy somewhere. You will see one Adeyemi something somewhere. You will see one Umaru something somewhere. You will see. Just look around. Look in sport, you will see. In education, you will see. In finance, you will see. In tech, you will see. So, I mean, why are we now not working? Are we spiritually doomed?
Oh, well, it's a question that a lot of people who are more spiritual might even tell you yes.
You know, politicians or technicians. Why? You have to face labor. If you are the Ministry of Health and all you know is all the intricacies in the surgery room, you have to face the health labor group.
Union.
How do you manage them? You need the politics part of it. While you are managing the health labor people, some ethnic colorations will start
It's
to
coming
play
on
out.
board.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to put a hospital somewhere. Someone will lobby for Kogi. Kogi will say no, it is Kwara.
Kaduna.
You have to know how to put your leg on your feet on the ground sometimes. You
And
know
say
how to
no.
laugh sometimes. How to take them to conferences sometimes to make them happy. So it is. That's your job. It's also your job.
You must
Managing
manage
all
them.
of
You must
that.
manage them.
You know, you have to manage all of that. So in all the ministries, Ministry of Mines and Steel, all of that will come to play. So if you only know the technical aspect of things, you will get into trouble with the political aspect of things. You know, so that is why I would say techno-sharks. You know.
Well, a lot has been said, and I must thank you, gentlemen, for being part of the show again today. And of course, that is how much we will be able to take on the roundtable this week. The show returns next week. And until then, I am Abiodun Adewale. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend, which starts tomorrow. Bye for now.
The Commissioner of Police became AIG, became DIG. Because the law says you must have 6 DIG from the 6 geopolitical zone. And somebody must represent the Southeast. And that person must be the most senior officer from the Southeast. And unfortunately for him, he happens to be the most senior officer. His mate in other regions may not be DIG today. But he became DIG because of this issue of everybody should feel represented. In education, that is not even what it's saying. There is no reason that you go that you will not have people that at least will meet the minimum requirement that is being defined. If today medicine, for instance, in University of Lagos, the minimum expectation for you to get to medicine is 300 score. Of course, nobody will come from whether Zamfara or anywhere with less than 300. There will be maybe that 300, they want to take 100. Maybe they have about 200 people that have 300 and above. But because you have made the minimum and you're coming from where nobody is coming from there, you'll be given that slot. That is what it is. So it's not about the system is designed to favor anybody, but to have a handshake so that everybody will feel that, look, I also belong to this society. But the first thing is that you must be qualified before that definition is applied to you.
What I would like to know is what JAMB is doing to ensure that these parody apps and these other opportunities presented to a criminal syndicate that may be luring people, as you said, that there are a lot more people in the position of Mmesoma at this point who have just decided to remain silent with the broadcast of their own results. What would you say?
Well, I told you that we made a discovery that I don't want to disclose, but you kept pushing. I love the way you ask questions and stuff like that, and I want to give you this breaking news.
Thank you.
We have discovered the person that developed this app, and the person is a student of one of our institutions. Now, as I speak with you, we are moving to pick the person, and he's going to lose his admission status in that school.
Is the school in the southeast or the south or the north?
Let's take it. You will find more details later.